Welcome to QZenith video tutorials. Hi guys, hope you're doing great, and in this video we're going to learn how to manage users in Parrot security operating system, including creating users, setting up passwords, assigning sudo privileges, managing groups, and a lot more. So let's get started. Let's begin with understanding about users in Linux. We've got three types of users. The first one is going to be the root user, which again the user that has got full control of the system and also known as the administrator user. So in Windows, if you have got full privileges, that means you can install, uninstall, you can change, you can modify, you can do whatever you would like to. It means you have got an administrator privilege. So in Linux, it is known as root user. The second one, it's going to be the regular user, and it has got limited access. That means you cannot do major changes in the system. So limited access means if you wanted to install or do some kind of modification or changes in the system, that means you have to have root privileges. So in regular user, you can use the system, but again, for major changes or type of installation or uninstallation, you cannot do that with a regular user. And the third one, it's going to be the system users. That means these are again used by the services such as the SQL services or maybe the DHCP services. Those are the services again use some kind of user access, but again these specific services cannot actually log into the system. So that means we have got from 0 to 999 user IDs. These are system reserved users. So the first 0 is used by the root user. So 0 is the user ID that is used by the root user, the administrator of the system. And then ranging from 1 to 999, that is again is reserved for the system users. Now when we talk about system users, we are talking about the services that are running at the background. So with these users that has the user ID ranging from 1 to 999 cannot be used for login, and then 1000 above is actually for the regular user. So that means when we talk about these three types of users, the 0 is again the user ID that is used by the root user, and then we have got 1 to 999, that is again system reserved user IDs that is used by the services. That means DHCP, SQL, a lot of background services. These users cannot log into the system because those are the services. And then the user IDs that again begins with 1000 and above are the regular users, the users that are manually created, such as QZenith user, again, whose user ID it's going to be 1000. So let us understand about these three types of users going through the live session. So I'm going to open up my Mate terminal, and then we are logged in as QZenith PWD. That's my user's home directory. And to verify what user ID are used by the root user, the services, and the regular user, you can check it through /etc password file. So this file again is in this specific path, root directory. Within root we have got etc directory, and within etc directory we have got the password file, and we are about to read that specific file by using concatenate command, and then I'm going to hit enter. Now you can see at the last we have got the QZenith user, because while installing this operating system, that was the first user created manually, and it has got the user ID 1000. That's how you verify it. And above that, we never created these users. And also to make sure, you can see that it's using bin bash, that means the bash shell. But if you see no login, that means those users cannot log into the system, and those are the services that are running at the background. And you can see that the user ID is 122, 121, 120. So as I made sure that the services uses the user ID ranging from 1 to 999, and the regular user begins with the user ID 1000. So if I'm going to scroll up a bit, you can see that the main user, the root, the administrator of the system, has the user ID 0. So we've got three types of users: the root user, the administrator whose user ID is 0. Other are the services, again having the user ID 1, 2. It actually ranges from 1 to 999. If you have got multiple services running at the background, maybe it's going to use more of the system reserve user IDs. There you can see the last user ID, the system reserve user ID 999, is used by the DNS mask queue. So second last again used by the SSH services. And what does this whole line means? So the first one is the username. The second is the password that's encrypted, so that's why it's showing you as X. Then after that you have got the user ID, and then group ID, and then we've got the full name of that specific user, QZenith, and then we have got the QZenith's users home directory, and then we have got bin bash. That means when this user is logged into the system, it's going to use the bash shell interpreter. So this is the meaning of that specific line. Now I haven't actually talked about the group ID, so let me tell you that when you create a user QZenith, it actually has the same group name as QZenith. So if I'm logged in as QZenith, means QZenith is the member of QZenith group. So when you create a user, the group has also been created. Now to verify the specific user, you can go through path/etc password file, and to verify the group name, you can go to this specific path/etc group. So let me show you. If you wanted to verify the group name, you have to go through this specific path. If you wanted to verify the username, you have to go through this specific path. So currently we are in /etc password, so this is the username. And if I wanted to make sure where is the group, again, when we created QZenith, it has its own group. So to verify that group, you can always go to that specific path group and then hit enter, and you can see that QZenith, that is the group name, and it has the group ID 1002. Okay, another way to verify, you can just type groups and then hit enter. You can see that QZenith is member of QZenith group, CD-ROM group, floppy group, sudo group, audio group, a lot of group. Later on I'm going to make you understand, but as of now you can see that when you type groups, that means currently logged in user is the member of multiple groups as of now. So now let us see how we can create a new user. So let me clear the screen. Sudo add user followed by the name of the user, that is going to be user1, and then hit enter. Now it's asking you to type a new password for that specific user. So I'm going to say user1, retype the password user1. So I have typed the same password as the username, and the full name is going to be, let's say, user1. Hit enter, and then room number you can just skip just by hitting enter, and then to confirm hit Y and then hit enter. Now to verify whether the user is being created, you can just go through that specific password file, cat/etc password, and then hit enter. Now you can see that user1 is successfully created. User ID is 1003, and then group ID, again, it's 1003. The full name that we typed for user1 is mentioned over here, and user1's home directory is going to be in this specific part, and it's going to use the bash shell. There's another way to verify the user, and that is going to be ls -l home and then hit enter. There you can see that in home directory, as I already said, that all the users that you create, the user's home directory is going to be visible over here in home directory. So as the more user you create, the more user is going to be seen within this specific path. Under the root and then home directory, multiple users home directory. And for QZenith, it has its own desktop, documents folder, music folder, and for user1 it has its own desktop folder, music folder, documents folder, and lot. Also, to make sure that the group is successfully created, type cat/etc and then group and then hit enter. User1 group is created and its user ID is 1003. So to check whether this user can log into the system, you can try it in this command prompt just by typing switch user dash followed by the username as user1 and then hit enter. It's going to ask you the password as user1 and then hit enter. And now you can see that before you were logged in as QZenith and now you're logged in as user1. So this is how you can check the user that you have created can log into the system. And if you wanted to verify the present working directory, it's again logged into its own home directory. To verify, you can just type ll and then hit enter. You can see that the desktop and the templates folder are there. And we can also exit out from here this user. Either you can type exit exit and then hit enter. You can log out, or there's another way you can do control D. So let me show you again. Switch user dash user1 and then hit enter. Password user1, hit enter. You're logged in as user1. Either you can type exit to log out from the current user, or you can hold control and then hit D to log out, and you can see that it's logged out from that specific user. Also, you can test it out from your graphical user interface. You can just close this and then you can log out from this specific system. So just click on log out from QZenith, and the user that you have created is seen over here. You just need to click on user1 and then type the password user1 and then hit enter. And now it's trying to log into that specific system using the user1 user. And just click on this terminal, and now you can see that you are logged in as user1 by default. TWD, the present working directory, the current user's home directory, LL to verify the desktop and the templates folder. So this is how you can test your user that you have created, either through command line interface or graphical user interface. So I'm going to switch back to my QZenith users. So just click on close and then click on Parrot, click on logout, click on logout now, and log in as QZenith. And I'm successfully logged in as QZenith. Just click on terminal and you can see that by default the user is seen as QZenith over here in the shell. So now if you wanted to change a password for that specific user, you can just type sudo and then passwd followed by the name of the user, that is going to be user1, and then hit enter. And now it's asking for QZenith password because QZenith has the sudo privilege. That means the admin privileges. So QZenith and then hit enter. Now type a new password for user1. So I'm going to say user ONE, user ONE, and then hit enter. Password is successfully updated. So if we wanted to verify, switch user space dash space followed by the user one, hit enter. The password before it was user numeric one, and then hit enter. It's not going to work. So authentication failure because we have changed the password. So switch user again, user one, hit enter. And now I'm going to type user ONE1 and then hit enter. And now you can see that you can log into user one successfully. So the password is changed successfully and we have verified it. So if you wanted to remove a user, or I would say delete a user, you can just type sudo and then delete user, del user, followed by the name of the user. That's going to be user one. But what happens is if you run this command, it's going to delete the user, but the user's home directory within the home, it's not going to be removed. So let me show you what I'm actually talking about. Let me create two users first. So sudo add user, user2, and then password for user one. With user one, you cannot create users because user one is a regular user. It doesn't have any kind of privileges. Later on, I will let you know. So Control C for cancel, Control D to exit out from the user one, clear the screen, create a new user. So sudo add user, user2, and then user2, user2, that is the password. User2 is the full name. Hit enter and then hit Y and then hit enter. Now, if you wanted to verify ll/home, hit enter, you can see that user2 is created. So it's again in the home directory. If you want to verify going through the password file, cat/etc password and then hit enter, you can see that user2 is created. It has 1004 user ID. It has the group ID as 1004. The full name is user2 and then again user2's home directory, and then it's going to use the bash shell. Okay, seems to be fine. To verify the group, cat/etc group and then hit enter, you can see that user2 group is successfully created and group ID is 1004. Okay, seems to be fine. Now I'm going to clear the screen and let us try to delete the user. Sudo and then del user followed by the name of the user. That's going to be user one and then hit enter. So you can see that it worked. So to verify cat/etc password file, hit enter. You can see that QZenith is there. User one is removed successfully. But if I do ll/home and then hit enter, you can see that the user's home directory for user one is not removed. So that's the problem. And then you have to remove it manually just by typing sudo rm-rf/home user one and then hit enter. And then again ll/home, hit enter. Now you can see that user one is successfully deleted from the password file, from the group file, as well as from the home directory. But what if I can do with a single command removing from the system as well as the home directory? You can use this command sudo del user and then I would say space dash dash remove dash home, again remove from the home directory followed by the username user2 and then hit enter. Now let's verify cat/etc password. User2 is removed from the password file. Cat/etc group, user2 group is removed, user1 group is also removed, and ll/home. Now you can see that user2's home directory is removed by that specific dash dash remove home command, which is again the command is this one. So always make sure when you delete the user, use this specific command if you wanted to remove the user's home directory as well. So we are done with the user management. Now let us understand and work with group management. So clear the screen, and if I say that I have got a user and that is user one, by default the member of user one group. We've got user two, by default is the member of user two group. What if I say that I can create a new group, group one, and then I can make these two users the member of that specific group? And why are we doing so? Because if I wanted an individual permission, I can actually apply to a specific user. But what if I say that if I'm going to apply permission based upon this group, that permission is going to be applied on both of the users automatically. So that's why we assign users, or I would say we include users to be the member of a single group. So you can either mention or apply permissions individually to a specific user, or you can apply permissions on a group, and that permission is going to be applied on the members of that specific group. So permissions, again, it's going to be covered later on, or I would say in the next video. But in this video, we're going to talk about the user management and the group management. So let us create a group, and then let us add these two users to that specific group. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a user, because I believe that we have removed both the users. So let us add user quickly. So sudo add user, user1, and then user1, user1, and then user1, hit Y, hit enter, and then again sudo add user2, hit enter, user2, user2, and then user2, enter Y, and then hit enter. To verify it, ll/home, we've got two users, cat/etc password for user verification, and then cat/etc group for group verification. User1 and user2 group is successfully created. The group ID 1003 and 1004. Now let us create a group. So when we create a group, it's not going to be seen on the /etc password file, because /etc password file only has usernames. So when we create a group, it's going to be seen over here in this specific /etc groups file, other than the /etc password file. So let me show you how to create a group. Sudo group add, and then followed by the name of group 1, and then hit enter. And if I say cat/etc password, you cannot see the group name over here because it's for the users. So to verify the group name, cat/etc group, and then hit enter, you can see that group is successfully created and its group ID is 1001. So if I want user1 to be member of that group, or user2 to be the member of that group, we can do that. And when we do that, these users are going to be seen over here, just like this one. So QZenith user is the member of Podman group, QZenith user is the member of Docker group, QZenith user is the member of LPA admin group. Okay, just like this one, if I'm going to add user1 to group 1, the member name, username, is going to be seen over here. So how do we do that? Before even doing that, let us verify ID user1, hit enter, and you can see that user ID is 1003 and user1 is the username, group ID is 1003 and the group name is user1, and user1 is the member of two groups, that is user1 group and that is users group. Let's verify for user2, hit enter. User2 user ID is 1004 and then user2 group ID is 1004. User2's name is user2, user2's group name is user2. User2 is member of two groups, user2 group and users group. Okay, seems to be fine. So let us add user to a specific group. So sudo user mode dash lowercase a uppercase G, followed by the name of the group and followed by the name of the user, and then hit enter. What this command says is that add this specific user to this specific group. So we are using user modification command, ID user1, hit enter. Now before it was the member of only two groups. Now you can see user1 is member of user1 group, users group, and group 1. To verify it, you can go to groups file, hit enter, and you can see that user1 is the member of group 1. Let's add user2 as well. So again, the same command, user mode, and then add user2 group 1, and then to verify it, ID user1 and then ID user2, and you can see that user2 is also the member of user2 group, users group, and then group 1 group. to verify cat/etc group and then hit enter. Now you can see that user 1 and user 2 is the member of group 1. So this is how you create group, and you can add members to that specific group. So we also have got additional command to verify the group, such as groups and the username user 1, groups and then user 2, and you can see that user 1 is the member of user 1, users and group 1 group, and then we've got groups user 2. Again, user 2 is the name of the user and is the member of user 2, users and group 1 group. This is another way to verify which user is the member of which group. Now let me show you how to apply sudo privileges on a regular user. Before even applying sudo privileges, let me show you what's the difference between a user that has sudo privileges and a user that doesn't have sudo privilege. So I'm going to clear the screen, and then I'm going to type id QZenith and then hit enter. Now you can see that QZenith is the member of a lot of groups, and then you can see that one group is sudo. So that means QZenith has the ability to download, install, uninstall, and then create users, delete users. But other two users, the user 1 and user 2, those users doesn't have that privilege because they are not the member of sudo group. So id user 1, id user 2. So you can see that there is no sudo group mentioned over here. And then what is the difference between a regular user? So user 1 and user 2 are regular user, and QZenith has the sudo privilege. So let me show you what is the difference. Now you can see that QZenith created user 1 and user 2. Can user 1 create user? Let me show you. So I would say switch user space dash and then user 1 to log into user 1. Okay, we are logged in as user 1 successfully. Now let us try to create a user. So I would say sudo and then add user, and then I'm going to type user 3 and then hit enter. Now it's asking you to type user 1's password. So user 1 and then hit enter. You can see that user 1 is not in the sudoers file. So that means regular user cannot create users or delete users. So let me give a privilege to this specific user. To give the privilege, I need to log in as QZenith. So I'm going to exit out from the current user, Control D to exit out. Now I'm in QZenith, and that's sudo and then user mod and then lowercase a, uppercase she, followed by the name of the group, that is sudo group, and then followed by the name of the user, that's again user 1, and then hit enter. Now if I'm going to verify id user 1, hit enter, you can see that there was no sudo group mentioned over here. Now you can see that sudo group is mentioned over here. So if the sudo group is mentioned over here, that means user 1 can do some changes in the system because it has got the sudo privilege. So let me log in again as switch user 1. So switch user dash user 1, hit enter, and then the password user 1, hit enter. You're logged in as user 1. Let's try to create a new user. So sudo add user 3, hit enter, type the user 1's password user 1 and then hit enter. Now you can see it's prompting for a new password for user 3. So I'm going to type user 3 and then user 3, and then full name is user 3, and then hit Y, hit enter to proceed, and ll/home, hit enter. Now you can see that user 3 is successfully created. cat/etc password file, hit enter. You can see that user 3 has the user ID as 1006, the group ID as 1006, the full name, the user 3's home directory, and it's actually going to use the bash shell. Okay, one more thing. You can see that when we created user 1, it got user ID 1003 and group ID 1003. When we created user 2, it got 1004. That means consecutive numbers are there. But when we created user 3, it is assigned with user ID 1006. Why? Because in between this, we created a group name called group1, right? So cat/etc group and then hit enter. And group1 has the user ID 1005. That's why user3 group used group ID 1006 and then the user ID as 1006. So that's the main problem, that it actually, the user3 was not assigned with the user ID 1005 because group1 is assigned with the group ID 1005. So it's reserved already for that specific group. So Linux always makes sure that when a user is created, it's going to have the same user ID and the same group ID. So that's why in this case, the user3 was assigned with user ID 1006 and then the group ID 1006. Let me also show you how we can lock a user account. Now, why do we even need to lock an account? Because maybe a user is gone for a vacation and I don't want that account to be used by anyone. So that's why I'm going to log that specific user. So to log that specific user, what I'm going to do is switch user and then user3 and then user3. Now you can see that I can log in to user3. Control D. Let's go back to user1. Now we have got user1 having sudo privileges. So we can run the command sudo password passwd and then space -l followed by the name of the user. It's user3 and then hit enter. Now you can see that it's saying password change. Though we haven't changed the password, we only wanted to log that specific account. So now let me see if we can log into user3. Switch user, user3. You can see that it's not working. So authentication failure because the user is locked. So to unlock that user, you can use sudo password and then -u followed by the name of the user, user3, hit enter. Now again, it shows you password change and then switch user, user3 and then user3. And now you can log in with that specific user. So this is how you can lock a user and then unlock a user when needed. Let us also see about the logged in users. So there's a command called who and then hit enter. It shows you which users are currently logged into this specific system. So when you see seat A, seat 0, that means it's the user that is again logged in through the graphical user interface, and it's the main user, and we've got user 1. If I'm going to log in as user 3 and then hit enter and then type who, you can see that we are logged in as user 3, but again it only shows you user 1 and QZenith. So I cannot see user 3, and again this PTS, this is known as the sudo terminal slave, which is again logged in as the emulated version of that specific user login, because we are logged in as QZenith through the graphical user interface. And if you see PTS, that means it's the user logged in through the emulated command line terminal other than the graphical user interface. And just by using the regular user, you cannot see the user 3 as logged in because you already are logged in as user 3. So it's going to show you two different users already logged in with your current user as user 3. There's another command as W and then hit enter. It shows you in details that who logged in at what time, at what idle PC, and what commands were last executed. So you can use who and then you can use W just to verify what users are currently logged in to your Linux system. So let me give you security tips. Always make sure that you avoid using root directly. That means that we are logged in as QZenith, we are logged in as user 1 and user 3, but we are not using root user directly. So that's the main thing. Also make sure that you always use strong passwords when you're working in your production environment. As of now, we are in practice mode, so I used the simple passwords for the users, but you make sure that you have got the strongest passwords when you're working with Linux operating system, just to make sure that you are secure in your environment. Also make sure that you remove unused users. If I say that we have got 5 users and in our system we have got 10 usernames, that means 5 of them maybe they left our company. So we need to delete those users. So unused users are to be deleted, and make sure only valid users are in your system. The fourth point says that limit sudo user. Make sure you can have 2 of the users who are admin and then who can work as sudo users. Maybe if one of the admin forgets his password, maybe another one can fix it out. Though we have got another ways to restore the passwords, but again, 2 admin would be fine. And then if you have got a lot of users, make sure that you don't have sudo users everywhere in your system. So always make sure that you always limit sudo users, and only specific users who has the privilege to work on that system has the sudo privileges enabled on their account. So now we know how to create users, how we can set passwords, how we can assign sudo privileges. We also made sure that how to create a group and then add users to that specific group. And I gave some of the security tips to make sure that you use this policy as mentioned over here. So this is it in this video. Hope it was informative for you. I will see you on my next video. Thank you for watching.